Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are officially here at Ask the Expert. Today, our CEO of the D-Free Financial Freedom Movement, Dr. DeForest V. Soaries Jr., he is speaking at a financial literacy conference. So he was unable to join us today, but we're still so excited about today's event. We are discussing how you can get started in real estate. And we have two wonderful women with us today who are going to describe their experiences. So first, we have Taylor Thompson. She is a partner success manager at Kiavi. Welcome, Taylor. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited to have you with us today. And we also have Rebecca Oyoyo. She is an investor as well as a real estate broker. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me as well.
It is a pleasure. All right, so we're going to first begin with Rebecca. So, Rebecca, my question for you in regards to investing is what made you decide to start investing in real estate?
Well, I initially started out as a real estate agent. Now I'm a real estate broker, but I've seen plenty of houses. And then it took me renovating my own to understand the process and how cheap it is to do some of these cosmetic repairs. So I saw a particular property. It just needed like paint, flooring, some deck boards changed out. So right there, I was like, oh, this property would be a good property to probably flip because the owner was willing to sell it for less than the market value. So that's what I started out doing. But I had been in real estate for 4 years prior to that. So I kind of knew how to look at houses and what repairs would need to be done based on previous inspections for clients.
And Rebecca, you make it sound so easy. Like all I had to do was change out some floorboards. So, Rebecca, did you do that yourself or did you hire someone?
So for our first flip, the owner had actually started doing some of the work himself. So in the bathroom, he had laid the tile out. It wasn't grouted, and then he had changed most of the flooring. So there were like kind of some hole patches in the wall. So we did have a handyman come out, patch some of the holes in the wall, but we grouted the floors ourselves. And then we just kind of used what he had already in place. So we didn't have to make too many repairs. So we would call it a lipstick flip. So that just means that it doesn't need much work, just cosmetic only. So that's how we started out with a lipstick flip. And when I say we, I mean my husband and myself, because we do it as a team.
Very cool. So, have you done floors in the past? Because again, Rebecca, you make it sound so easy. You're like, I just put the grout on the floor. So, did you just put it down and teach yourself how to do it in the
Yeah,
process, or did you already do it before?
yeah, YouTube is pretty great because I will say we learned how to grout by doing backsplash on one of our kitchens. So we kind of learned the method of grouting. So then when we looked at the floor, we're like, hey, it's pretty sturdy. It just looks like he was missing the grout. So we kind of learned that from YouTube.
Very cool. Very cool. So, what else do you describe as a lipstick repair? You know, when you're looking at a home and you're like, okay, this is just a lipstick one. What's that?
Okay, so it's just paint in the interior, maybe paint in the exterior, very little siding replacement. So we would have a handyman come pull off some siding, but not much, not replacing it in the entire exterior of the home. So yeah, it's just pretty much cosmetics, just paint and sometimes flooring, and that's it. It's nothing wrong with any of the systems. The roof doesn't need to be changed out. Just as everything cosmetic.
Wow, very cool. I just want to let everybody know who's watching. Rebecca and Taylor are live, so please feel free to ask us any questions in the chat that you want to ask them. We'll make sure that we ask them in real time so that you can get the answers that you need. So, Rebecca, you had your first home that you and your husband were living in. You realized that it was some lipstick cosmetic changes. And then after that, did you sell that home afterwards, or did you buy another home, renovate it, and flip it or rent it out?
Okay, so let me back up. We started with buying our own home and then we had to paint the inside and everything. We bought in 2018, 2019. So a lot of things weren't done for us. So we had to paint ourselves. We had to change the backsplash because there was no backsplash there. So we learned a little bit from owning our own home.
Mhm.
And then we moved on. I purchased another rental property in my name. Because the other home was in my husband's name. So then I started renting that property out, but we just painted it ourselves. And then we learned about granite places in slab yards where they sell very, very cheap granite. I had the granite in my home replaced as well as the rental home replaced. At that time, we only spent $1,500 on getting the granite replaced in both homes.
Wow.
Kind of learn cheap ways to save money and then do the work yourself. And you watch YouTube videos to see if it's something small like painting some walls, how they do it. That way you save money, because sometimes if you hire a painter, have them come out, they may want $200 per room when it doesn't take that long to do yourself. So some of the things that we could do ourselves, we do.
Wow. And then and I'm gonna get to the question because we have one question that just came in 1 second. But I just wanted to ask you, you said you were able to find the granite. How did you know how to find which places gave the best deal? Did you keep just searching and asking them for their pricing?
Yeah, so you search around. I think my husband, he got into Craigslist a long time ago when we were like 19, 20. So he learned about Craigslist. So we look at it, we see what ads people and companies are running. And we saw that they had a place that was called 995 Granite at the time. So we went there, we started checking it out. We found a fabricator through them, and we were like, wow, we can replace everything for so cheap. And they also tore out and put in a new sink free of charge as long as you purchase their granite. They no longer exist for that cheap of a price, but it was still a great thing to find. And then now we go with different slab yards, which aren't that expensive. I think we pay like $20 per square foot for granite, or quartz. We pay like 40 per square foot. So it's all about trying to find the cheapest places. You want to use the Facebook Marketplace and places like Craigslist.
That was so good. Rebecca, I gotta start making my notes. That was so good. Okay. So the question that came in from the chat, a woman's name is Judy. She says, is it beneficial to become a licensed real estate agent when investing in real estate?
I would say, as a real estate agent, we have so many restrictions on us about what we can and cannot say to our clients. I love that I got into real estate first because I learned a lot about homes through the home inspection report.
Mhm.
And then we had an inspection company that we worked with a lot. So I got to talking to the inspector, the owner, and he was like, oh, yeah, this is only priced at this if you had this repair. So I started learning, oh, this isn't that expensive to repair things. But I wouldn't say you have to become a real estate agent, because I know a lot of wholesalers that will find properties as well. So you can still find and flip properties without having your real estate license. I will say I have a lot more experience because I have worked with clients and sold well over 100 homes with looking at homes and reviewing inspection reports. So that's how beneficial it was to me. But you don't necessarily have to go that route.
That's good to know. That's really good to know because you view the inspection reports. Wow, I love that. Thank you. So we have another question in the chat. Dorinda, I see your question about the different types of mortgage options. And Anthony, I see yours about financing. So I'm really excited because we have Taylor here, who is also going to talk to us in regards to financing through Kiavi. So that's coming up next. Rebecca, before I bring Taylor on, I just want to ask you one more thing. So you said you've done over 100 homes. Do you prefer to purchase the home, rehabilitate it, and then rent it, or purchase, rehabilitate, and then sell it?
Okay, so purchase and sell it is great because you're in and out fast, right? But you have a lot of tax liability when you go that route. So we get capital gains tax. It can be from 20 something percent all the way up to 30. I think Biden wants to increase it to about 40% right now. So you're losing a lot of money just by paying taxes on that money, on that home sale based on your profit. So if you make 100,000, let's say capital gains goes up to 40%, you're going to pay $40,000 and only be able to keep that $60,000 maybe for yourself.
Mhm.
Right. So I like to be able to buy and hold it. So that's what we're getting into more now. But for quick cash, it is great to be able to just hurry up, buy and flip it. But you have to have the right contractors and people in place. We've learned to have backup contractors because sometimes they get busy. They may start a job, not finish, and you just need that reliability to get the project done on time. If not, then you're going to run into issues where if you had let's say I use Hard Money So I have a hard money loan. I'm paying interest for all of those days that the home isn't sold.
Got it. Got it. That's great. Sandra is asking, do you have any experience buying rental properties and then renting to Section 8?
Okay, so I do have experience buying rental properties. I have not rented to Section 8 at this time. I have heard a lot of good things about it, though. You make sure, or you're basically ensured that you will have your rent every month on time, as long as the repairs that are needed have been done. Because I know they do go out and do inspections, Section 8, but I don't have personal experience.
Thank you. Thank you. And then when it's time for you to say you purchase the home, you renovate it, what would you say is the typical time of a renovation?
So myself and my husband, we're pretty quick. So my husband always pre-plans it. He's like, okay, is on Monday. I'm gonna start calling people ahead of time, like a week before time, and say, what's your schedule look like for our electrician, plumber, roofer? So we just closed on a home on Monday, and we have just gotten the roof changed out, and it's Wednesday, right?
Wow.
He moves pretty quick with making sure that we have someone in place. They've measured the roof, and then we had our contractors come out today, look at all the wood work that's needed, the dry work that's needed, drywall work that is needed. So we'll probably be in and out in maybe 45 days. We try to be quick with the renovation, and then from there we always we put the home on the market pretty quickly. So I would say we're always in and out on average within like 60 something to 90 days, and that's us because we're pretty quick. But we know some investors that will sit on a property and have their contractors come. It will take them 9 months to a year to get done. We just don't like to hold it for that long.
Understandable.
Right.
Now, what I also hear you saying is that having relationships with the right contractors is important
It is.
because I hear you saying you're calling them in advance and
Right.
you're telling them we're going to need you. So, how did you build these relationships or just find the right contractors? I know I asked you before, but are there some tricks for people? I know we spoke with one gentleman and he said what he does is he goes in the morning to like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and he just sees like who are the contractors that are around, and then from there, that's how and he just starts talking to them, and that's how he meets people.
Right. So no, we still use the same methods. We will use Craigslist. We'll use Facebook Marketplace. Right now, we do hire laborers for like junk removal, and they'll tell us, okay, I also do tile. I also do backsplash. I also do flooring. So we'll talk to them about what they can and cannot do, and then we'll look at pictures of their work as well. But for the most part, it was trial and error, because you can do great work but still be unreliable, right? So it's just through trial and error. And once we find someone good, we kind of keep them in our back pocket. We're like, okay, this is going to be our go-to person.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I know people are asking now, how am I going to finance this? So, so Rebecca, I'm going to bring Taylor on so she can talk about financing, and then Rebecca, we're going to ask you to just stay on so that if anyone has any more questions about the experience on the back end, we can still come back and ask you.
Absolutely.
All right, so Taylor, I'm bringing you on. Hey, Taylor, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm super excited to talk about Kiavi and just your overall guide to private lending and financing your real estate business.
We are excited you're with us today.
Awesome. So just a brief intro. Again, my name is Taylor Thompson. I have over 7 years of experience in real estate. I'm also a licensed agent in Texas, and I've been with Kiavi for about 3 years now. So about Kiavi, I'll just be giving you guys an overview of Kiavi and how you can leverage our private lending to grow your current real estate business or start investing. So who are we? We are a non-QM lender. So that means we provide non-qualified mortgages or private mortgage loans that you cannot access at a traditional bank. We funded well over 50,000 projects to date and growing, and we empower our borrowers with technology. So everything is at your fingertips with our online platform. And we have a very easy and fast process, which I'll cover more in the later slides. Fast and simple lending process, super self-explanatory. If you're on our website, you can price out and submit your deals. You get access to an instant pre-qualification letter, which you can use when you're making offers. Very quick decisions and dedicated account managers throughout the entire process. And this is just an overview of our market coverage. So we're in 32 states plus DC. So you'll see there's just a few that we aren't in yet. Louisiana is one of them, and some of those upper northern western states. So brief housing market update. As you guys know, the housing market experienced a lot of change during the pandemic. Interest rates dropped and the demand for single family rental was very high. Since then, to combat the recession, the Fed has increased interest rates and it's priced out a lot of would-be homeowners, leading to higher occupancy in single family rentals and also a higher demand for rents. So that's a very popular exit strategy now with investors to rent properties long term. With the higher interest rates, you'll also see the prices start to decline. So again, more opportunity for real estate investors to come in and acquire at a lower cost. So knowing your financing options. You can skip that slide, thank you. So someone asked, like, what are all the ways that I can finance a real estate project? So of course, there's self-funded cash. There's hard money lenders and private money lenders, which we qualify as both. They're pretty much interchangeable. The difference could be that it's an individual versus an actual company. So you'll see that kind of interchange throughout this, calling it hard money or private money. But essentially that operates as cash. It's much faster than a traditional bank or lender, which you're probably more familiar with. Then you also have like your self-directed retirement accounts or IRAs, and then a 1031 exchange. But fun fact, it says that 63% of real estate investors consider their lender as an actual partner in their investment strategy. So super important to have financing in place when you're going out and looking for properties. So just a high level overview, like the difference between private lending versus traditional financing. And by traditional, I mean bank mortgages. So the difference between private and traditional, the biggest thing that you want to consider here is the underwrite process. So an asset underwrite versus a borrower underwrite. For hard money or private money, they're actually looking at the property, determining the after repair value, what the property's worth, and assessing the risk based on how great of a deal you've gotten, versus looking directly at the borrower, looking at your debt to income ratio and your W-2s and your tax returns. This is going to be a much simpler process where it's just credit check, looking, assessing the values of the property. One thing that you will see is that they will have higher interest rates, but it's much faster turnaround times. You can close on a hard money loan in a couple weeks versus, a month plus for a traditional loan. You can go to the next slide. Thanks. So the requirements for Kiavi is that it would be a business purpose loan, meaning that it's non-owner occupied. So if you had the idea to maybe do a house hack, like get a duplex or a triplex and you live in one unit and rent out the others, this would not qualify. It has to be a non-owner occupied property. Our credit score, FICO score requirements is 660 is the minimum. It doesn't matter your experience level. A lot of other hard money lenders will prefer that you've done this before. You can have never done this and qualify with Kiavi. And we do require that you have some cash reserves, enough for the down payment that's required and the monthly payments. And then we only will lend to entities. So it has to be an LLC or something like that. You can't do it in your own personal name. So when is hard money a good option? When you're doing either of those strategies that Rebecca talked about, either a fix and flip or a rental. So some of the pros of choosing private money, like I mentioned before, faster closing, applications are much easier without needing all of those financial documents. You have flexible terms to choose from, and then interest-only payments. I think Rebecca touched on that before. So by interest-only payments, you're paying only the interest amount on the entirety of the loan until you either exit with a sale or refinance. And at that point, you pay the total loan amount when you're all done. The cons would be that there's higher down payments, between 10 to 35%, depending on, the leverage that you're looking for. Definitely have higher interest rates, and the repayment terms are usually between 12 to 24 months. It's a short-term loan. So working backwards, we're just going to look at some of the different exit strategies and the financing strategies to go with them. So for the long-term rental, we do offer multiple loan terms on this. So there you can get anything similar to like a 30-year fix, like a traditional mortgage product on this long-term rental. However, the interest rates are a little bit higher. And they're also, we determine the risk based on the debt service coverage ratio. So that, or you see it as DSCR. Essentially, that formula is the net operating income over the total debt. So rent over debt lets us figure out exactly the risk in the property. And for fix and flip, again, it's the interest-only loan. So you pay as little upfront as possible with your down payment, which ranges from usually 10 to 25% on this, or maybe 35, depending on what you're looking for. You have much lower upfront costs. We do help to finance the 100% of the rehab, and you're paying interest as dispersed. And so one method that we encourage our borrowers to try, which actually employs both the bridge and the single asset rental loan, is to do the BRRRR method. So if you have a project, if you have a rental property and the property requires repairs, you'll start off with a bridge loan where you can finance the total repair budget, rehab the property, refinance it back into our DSCR rental loan. Then you rent it out, and then you repeat. I'm sorry, I inverted that. Rent it first, and then you can refinance. That way we can determine what the DSCR is based on the rent amount. So this is just a look at the numbers, like the difference between Kiavi and a competitor. This is with the 10% down payment, and you can see the interest rate differs by 10.75% versus 8.99%. Not huge, but it does make a difference in the end when it comes to what you're coming out with at closing. The total cost at closing, $46,000 versus $50,000 to start off on a project where the purchase price is $285,000. You need a fully 100% rehab of $60,000, and the after repair value would be somewhere like $450,000. So there's still a lot of potential profit to be made. So how to get started with Kiavi. The process is pretty simple. Go online, you determine the rates, you get that pre-qualification letter once you submit the property information. From there, if you have the property under contract, you can submit your loan application, then it goes into processing. If it's a bridge loan, something that needs repairs, it'll go into valuation and feasibility. And the VA is essentially like our desktop appraiser. They look at the value of the property, determine what the as-is value right now is, and then what the future value would be once the repairs are done. Feasibility just assess the repairs that you submit. So you'll submit exactly what you plan to do to the property. They'll look at that and determine if it's enough to get it to that valuation. So once it passes valuation and feasibility, it moves into underwriting. Super simple, goes straight to closing. And then we service all of our loans in-house. So you'll have the same experience manager from start to finish. So if you ever have any questions regarding like the servicing or payments or anything like that, you'll have the same experience manager to help you along the way. So if you're ready to get started, we have a landing page that's made exactly for D-Free clients. So kiavi.com/D-Free. Click on Get Started. And then you can go to the next slide. And so this is what the next page will look like. Once you click Get Started, put in all the loan information. They'll ask you to estimate your FICO score. What do you plan on doing? The purchase price, the rehab estimate, and then they'll give you a total look at what you're going to do. If you want to do a 12-month loan, this will be your rate and this will be your payment, etc. So you can kind of price out your deal and figure out exactly how you want to go forward with the property. And then the next step, you'll get to review all your loan details. It'll tell you exactly what your monthly payment will be and your interest rate, etc. That's where you can download the pre-qualification letter and you can submit this for review. You want to submit for review once you already have the property under contract. So you may fill this out and then download the pre-qualification letter and put the offer in. Then you'll just come back, all this information will be saved and you can submit for review. And that's pretty much it. So I can open for Q&A. Oh, and I'll share with you all my contact information if you'd like to reach out as well.
Thank you. All right. So we do have some additional questions. Thank you so much for that, Taylor. That was great. You know what? I'm going to bring everyone back on so that way if someone has a question, we can all be here together if somebody wants to weigh in. Okay, so there was one in the question in the chat. It says, would you suggest an individual use NACA to purchase property? I was looking up what an NACA is, Taylor. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay, yes, NACA is awesome. I had a client close with NACA previously, and they have lower interest rates. You just go through the program, and I believe you just commit to a certain amount of volunteer hours every year. But yeah, NACA is awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Ray would like to know, is the assessment by Kiavi done prior to closing to ensure the purchase makes sense? You kind of mentioned that already when you went through the thing, but I just figured I'd still ask it again.
Yeah, no problem. So the valuation assessment, that process is done once the application is submitted and while it's in processing. So if it doesn't make sense, we won't actually loan on the property. So we won't let you essentially take on a bad deal if the numbers don't pan out. Your experience manager will call you and say, hey, this is what the numbers came back as. You know, maybe you should renegotiate your contract or kind of let you know what the next steps are to where you need to be to get it approved by Kiavi, essentially.
Thank you. Marcia asks, what amounts do you do up to for the fix and flip loan? And then the second part of that question is, do you do new construction?
So for the amounts, it depends on experience. So are you talking about what's the total amount that you can borrow?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to clarify.
I'm sure like what, yeah, it's like what's the amount you can go up to for someone who
the maximum is 1 million, and in California, I believe it's 2.
Thank you.
That's the amount, max leverage. And so for new construction, we do offer new construction, but it's only to experienced borrowers. There are the stipulations. You have to have done a new construction project before.
Okay, thank you. One more, if you don't have a down payment, is it worth it getting a business loan for it?
I would let Rebecca answer that. I know that that's something that we require. For most hard money, they're going to require at least 10 to 20% down. So if, you know, a business loan helps you to start your business in that way, possibly, but I don't have enough experience to tell you if that's the best method.
Okay, so in my opinion, how I started is I had sold my rental property and I got money from there to start investing in flipping. I would not I don't like to have too much debt on me. So me personally, I would not take a business loan out in order to come up with a down payment. There has to be other ways. I don't know if this person has like a retirement fund or if they could pick up extra work doing something on the side to come up with a down payment. But I definitely wouldn't want to put any more debt on your plate, because when you secure a new loan, it's going to go on your credit report, and then it may bring your credit rating down as well. So you have to think about that when you're going to apply for a home loan too. So it's just things.
Rebecca, since you're still, since you were just talking, I would like to know, someone asked, what is NACA?
Okay, NACA. So it's like the neighborhood assistance, I want to say corporation. But it's like a program where anyone in any state, they could go find whoever their local NACA representative or office is, and then go to them to start the process of getting approved for a home loan. Now, you do have to do like a workshop, and it does take a while to get a pre-approval letter because they're going to look at your credit report. You have to have certain credit requirements. You can't have a lot of debt on your credit report that you haven't paid off. So yeah, it's just basically a program where you can go get approved for a home loan.
And is this for home loan for single family or for the purpose of real estate investment?
No, it's for a single family, usually, I believe, and just to live in.
Yeah, I think it's an owner occupant
Yeah.
program. So that would be, and they offer like down payment assistance. Is that right? Yeah. So it's like good for first time homeowners, if that's right.
I know I had a first time home buyer use the program. I It's just specific to just first time home buyers, but I did have one use it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So there's another one from Dr. Nicole B. Simpson. She's the host of one of our podcasts on the D Free Podcast Network. So, hey, Dr. Nicole, she is in the chat today. Her quote question is so if someone wants to purchase a rental property, she says, does it make sense to use Kiavi for the hard money loan?
Yes, so we do offer a product for rental, which I mentioned before. It's like a debt service coverage ratio. So they look at the long-term rents, and they'll use that to determine the value of the property, similar to like assessing the after repair value for a bridge. So we do that, and we do offer a 30-year fixed program for that. So it's similar to a traditional mortgage in terms of like the payments won't be as high, and you've got a fixed rate. The interest rates are they just actually went down a few days ago, but I think they're somewhere between like 7 to 8%. So it's not too far off from the traditional bank lenders, which I think are around the sixes. And it's just less of the intrusive like underwriting process. It's very much based on the property and your FICO score. Not You don't have to come up with all the extra paperwork.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. I'm just going back up to the top because there was one question I didn't get to from Anthony. And he says, how can I buy a rental property 100% financed?
Okay, so me being in real estate, I get so many emails. I have a lot of loan officers and real estate loan officers in my email. So they do have like 100% conventional financing that just came in place. And I believe they have the same thing that came in place with the FHA, 100% financing. And I believe what they do is you have one loan and then a second loan on top of it. So pretty much they would just have to find a lender that offers that. So I would go to Google, type in your city and state, and then put in 100% conventional financing, and then put in 100% FHA financing in there.
Thank you. Thank you. And Taylor, thank you for your answer beforehand. Dr. Nicole said she's filling out her application now. She said thank you. Okay, so Sandra, can you double check? Can you put in the chat for me one more time? You said, what was that loan called? Are you describing the NAC loan or a different one? Just let me know so that we can make sure we answer that question for you. One thing I wanted to add, and then Taylor, you let me know if I'm wrong, but I remember when we first started the collaboration between D-Free and Kiavi, you mentioned to us that if people want funds for their repairs, Kiavi helps with that as well. So not only can you get the home, but if you have repairs, you can get a loan to help you with the repairs. You just have to have the money on the front end, right? You see the repair you need, you do the repair, send I guess the receipt or whatever to Kiavi to say you did it, and then you'll be reimbursed for it. Am I correct?
Yes. So that's our bridge loan. So those properties are assessed based on what the value of the property will be after the repairs. So it is necessary for you to have a list of all the repairs you're going to make. And when you list those repairs, you also itemize the cost. So you'll say, hey, change the floors, paint the cabinets with the cost associated with it. So once you are required to start the repairs out of your own budget, but then Kiavi reimburses you 100%. So if you do the floors and you have $5,000 in for floors and you replace the floors, you then send it to Kiavi, hey, floors are replaced. They send out an inspector just to make sure that floors are replaced. Then they'll wire you the $5,000 and you can keep using that $5,000 to leverage your next set of repairs and so on and so on.
So cool. That's wonderful. Thank you. Sandra said she would like to know the name of the loan for the rental property. Is that the bridge loan or is that the?
That's a DSCR loan, so the debt service coverage ratio loan.
Thank you. Debt. I should write that in the chat for everyone. The debt service. And then you said coverage loan?
Coverage ratio. Yeah. So DSCR is the shorthand for it. And
okay. Thank you.
no problem.
One more question. If someone wants to purchase a property in a trust, is that possible?
Absolutely. So as long as it's not in your own name, it's fine. A trust does count as an entity.
Look at this, Rebecca and Taylor. We're getting so much helpful information. Thank you, ladies. This is so good. I love it when people are able to get the questions that they want answered, because you know what? So many people keep telling us that they want more information about how to build their wealth. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you two. You can get that anywhere. I'm presuming the question is, can you get the trust anywhere? Is that the question? You can get that anywhere. Philistine, if you just flesh out that question just a little bit more for me. The question comes in as, you can get that anywhere, and I'm just not sure which part. So I'll wait for the rest of that to let you ladies know. One thing I wanted to ask you, Rebecca, is traditionally when you're going into a home, how much does it cost, say, if someone realizes they need to, as you were mentioning, Taylor, the floors, if someone has to repair the floors, can you let us know traditionally how much does that normally cost?
Okay, so it really depends on the square footage of the home. Usually replacing floors, we have a 2-story home, we're just replacing the floors on that main level. I would say like 1,200 square feet of flooring. And then we have a laborer that we pay $1 per square foot to do the installation. If we're talking about like a luxury vinyl tile, I would say that's like $2 a square foot. So we're probably going to pay, I want to say like $3,500, $32 to $3,500, depending on what kind of flooring we get down.
That was great. Thank you. And then if someone is thinking about repairing a whole bathroom, how much does that typically cost?
Okay, so we're on the cheaper end. So you're going to have a lot of people say, I spent $10,000 to replace my bathroom. Usually we have a tile expert. He will gut the bathroom for us and then replace the tile. And let me think, if it's a small bathroom, like toilet, small sink, 24 inches, and a shower, I think we pay him like $2,000, $2,500. And then for a medium-sized bathroom, we may pay him $3,000, $3,500 for bathrooms. So we on average do 2 bathrooms total, maybe $7,000, and that's after like getting vanities and stuff.
Wow.
I have a Lowe's card and a Home Depot card, and then we get discounts sometimes with that. So you really need to do your research and see who has vanities on clearance, because recently Home Depot had 60-inch vanities on clearance for $589 was the cheapest one. So yes, always doing your research to see who has cheaper.
Wow. Rebecca and Taylor, you're making it feel so possible. I love this. This was so great. I know, right, Deborah? Deborah said those are great prices. They are. I know we're getting ready to close. So if anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We're going to get ready to close probably in the next 5 minutes. But ladies, truly, thank you so much. This has been so good. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me put in the chat. So Taylor, you said if somebody wants to contact you or your team, do partnership or partnerships at Kiavi?
I believe it's partnerships. Partnerships at Kiavi.com or DFree, Kiavi.com/DFree. There's a contact us button on there as well.
Okay. I'm putting in the link. Okay, and then one question came through that I just see as I'm putting this in the chat. Ray said, Rebecca, are you investing in New Jersey? I'm looking at investment properties in South Jersey, but it's over an hour away. What advice do you have to find contractors? Sorry, guys, who are far away. Couldn't get that one out of my mouth. Okay. You want me to say that again, or you got it? Okay.
So I actually invest in Georgia. So I live in Metro Atlanta. I'm more in the Lawrenceville, Swanee area. So I'm not sure of contractors there, but what I will say is that you can do a Google search. Some of the people in the Google search may be a little bit more expensive. So that's why you want to check out Craigslist and then Facebook Marketplace. Because you're meeting them on such a public site, I will say get references first, pictures and Google them, and then go to their Facebook pages to make sure these people really exist, and that they're safe to meet with.
That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ladies, we're getting ready to close this up. Judy, yes, this is recorded. So to everyone who's watching, if you'd like the replay, what I'm going to do is send this back out tomorrow so that anyone can watch it. Any closing words that you'd like to share, Rebecca or Taylor?
It's not hard to get into real estate investing. You just have to go out and do it. You have to be able to put in the hard work, find the deals yourself, and then also make sure you're keeping in contact with family and friends, because they may have a deal for you. Someone who just can't keep up with their home, it needs some small renovations, and then they're willing to sell it at a cheap price.
And I would just say, when starting the business, team up with a realtor, team up with the lender, and you have access to finding the properties and financing the properties, and then the rest is up to you.
I love it. This was great. Great. I'm going to sneak in one last question. Someone wants to know if the housing market or rental property market in Georgia is picking up because inventory appears to be low. Is it picking up?
Yes, from September, the beginning of September to February, it was really slow. So if I look at the market for those dates, I saw that prices went down significantly. A home that sold for $600,000 in one area probably sold for $525,000 because the market has shifted because of the high interest rates. Right now,
Just lost her. There we go.
I had a phone call coming in.
No
but
worries.
But the market has shifted and it's picking up. So homes are selling a lot faster. But I was able to snatch up a deal off the MLS or multiple listing service that is listed with a real estate agent, because it had been sitting on the market for so long. It was originally listed for $619. And then they dropped the price to $590. We're under contract for $557 right now. So you can still get a great deal on the market. You just need to know how to look and how to negotiate.
I love it. Ladies, you guys are both amazing. People in the chat have said, thank you so much for this information and encouragement. Thank you, ladies, for your information. This was informative from all these people in the chat. So they all say thank you like I do. So thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, have a wonderful day. And to everyone watching, we hope you have a wonderful day as well.
Thank you. Bye.